All right, guys, I want to share with you probably one of the more unexpected surprises that I've had in a while. This is the Seiko reference sne547. You can see the suggested retail is $450. You're going to get some sort of discount off it. You're not going to pay $450. This one was lent in by Mimo over at Mimo's Jewelry. I'll put a link in the description to his website. There's certainly going to be a discount. I would suspect you're probably going to be closer to like the less than $350 range for it. It's using the caliber V157, which is a Japanese-made solar quartz movement, and it's a very good one to boot as well. So part of the prospects line up here, and you know, I looked at all the new Seikos just like you guys do too. I pawn over them as well, and it's no secret that I haven't really been drawn to most Seikos recently, and you know, partly because of the quality control issues or the price hikes and all that stuff like that. It just opened my eyes to more options. I don't really have any problem with Seiko. I think they make great watches. I have a couple of iconic ones here, and I'm always keeping my finger on the pulse of the new models coming up. But occasionally, like this one, you kind of look at pictures and you're like, ah, it looks all right. But then when you actually get it in hand, you're like, oh, dang, this is a banger. This is a legit, really fun watch. There's a touch of color, and then this new silicone strap, the color on it, and then the ribbing on top here, it just makes it insane cool. And I'll get into that a little bit more. I don't want to get too boisterous on what I really like about it, but let's talk about the case size. Now, these Tuna, with their shroud, they kind of flare out. So I'm going to give you a few different measurements. At the widest part of the shroud, it's going to be 46.7 millimeter. But if you measure up towards the very top part where it tapers to meet the bezel, it's only 44.5 millimeter. So it's kind of shaped like a bell or something. And then if you measure just the bezel's only like 39.85. So it's going to wear really good on wrist, I'm telling you. 45.5 lug to lug. Look at those lugs almost stay underneath the chassis of the watch. They're so short, and that's what makes the Seiko Tuna lineup, whichever one you pick, they're all going to be phenomenal on wrist. And there's some smaller, like this would be on the smaller side. There's some larger ones. There's solar. There's regular quartz with the 7C movement in it and everything like that. 12.9 thick. So again, that's not crazy thick either. You're talking basically 13 millimeter. That's pretty on par with most divers. 22 millimeter lug width. And then you have this one paired up with this really super comfortable green silicone strap. It's going to be kind of smooth on the bottom side. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Seiko, for using a silicone keeper instead of a metal keeper. That's just personal preference, but it's my personal preference, so it certainly matters to me. And so let's get into some of the other specs on this, or rather the appearance of it, I guess, is what we're going to look at. Because check out that bezel. You have layers on this thing. So you have that beautiful green color. It's semi-gloss. It's not like glossed out or anything like that. It's almost like a metallic look to it. There's no lume up there. And then you have this part here that is like glued on top. I'm not sure how the construction is done, but it's definitely a layer on top of the normal bezel. And it gives it a little bit of dimension, but it's not crazy high, so it looks ridiculous. It's a nice add-on feature. I like the way it looks. They played it really well. The bezel itself, the traction on it, look at that traction. Insane traction, very clean done. It looks amazing. The shroud is some sort of hard plastic or resin. And then check out that orange. It's almost like a blood orange ring around just below the teeth for the bezel. So you get a reveal, certainly where the shroud is cut out, but at certain angles you can actually even see it within the shroud. If you get the light just right, I think out in natural sunlight it'll pop even more. And then of course you have a collar at the crown, a screw down crown. You have a collar there too. So pop this guy out and you can see it's a decent sized collar, so you're going to get plenty of reflection off that too. A little bit of crown wobble, much like on I think the one I owned was the Patty Solar Tuna. And that one had a little bit of wobble too. Not a big deal. You're pretty much only going to be popping that thing out to adjust the date. Like today's actually June 2nd, not June 1st. But it's on a 31-day rotation. And June will only have 30. So today's July 2nd, excuse me. So anyway, And then the other really cool thing on this, look at that seconds hand. I think they could have easily have matched the seconds hand to the color of the, the trim here, but I'm kind of glad they didn't. And hopefully you can pick that up. It might look a little muted on video, but to my naked eye, that's a really vivid, almost like orange coral type fluorescent look to it. It's crazy visible, and I absolutely love it. It's a nice pop of color amongst all of this, dark greens and blacks and standard color. You have the pop of the orange and the pop of that almost fluorescent glow in the dark seconds hand, and it just looks great. So you can see a nice loom pip up top there. Let's talk about bezel action. Bezel action and traction on this are also very good. It's going to be 120 click, plenty of resistance. It's not going to move around on you, and it has a nice standard Seiko click to it that we all have become accustomed to, and it lines up great. So on this one, so the band is made in China, and then it just says movement Japan. So I'm not sure, case and all that stuff. I'm not sure of its origin or where it's from. I don't really have any indication of that. So let's check this out on my 7 1/4 wrist. This thing is crazy comfortable, and again, I'm ecstatic about the silicone keeper. I hope they do that with more watches. I could easily see having this one in my rotation. You can see on my 7 1/4 inch wrist, it wears perfect. Absolutely comfortable, no hot spots. This is an all-day watch easily. A lot of guys will swap out. You try to force wear something a little bit bigger or heavier. You're going to put this one on in the morning. You're going to go all day, and you're going to forget it's on wrist, and then you're going to come home and take it off when you're ready to switch up or something. But yeah, phenomenal watch. So extremely comfortable. Here it is next. I want to show it next to a few other watches too, so you have some size proportion to look at here. So holding them at about the same plane. There it is next to like an Arnie or Safari. So you can see that the size difference there is definitely noticeable. So if you're pulling off one of these Arnies, you're gonna love these tunas if you haven't, or vice versa. Maybe you've already tried the tuna and you're like, what, I can pull off a little bit bigger watch. You could go for the Arnie. Here it is next to a Seiko SKX. And the SKX is crazy comfortable on wrist too, but I have to be straight up honest with you guys, the Tuna is even more comfortable than the SKX. And of course, here it is next to a Seiko Monster, which I've been wearing the last couple of days. So big thanks to Mimo for sending this in. Also, I gotta give Seiko props. Thanks, Seiko, for going with the non-metal keeper. I know that's like the 3rd or 4th time I brought it up, but that's a big deal to me. Man, I didn't realize how much I didn't care for the metal keeper until they actually did their silicone strap with the silicone keeper. Do it this way from now on, please. All right, let's check out that loom. Killer loom, even with the loom monsters glowing in the background. If I can block them a little bit, it might focus in on the watch a little bit, but you can see just phenomenal loom. And then you're missing one indice, but that's where the date is. I don't have any problem with that. So, all right, guys, thanks for watching. I'll catch you on the next vid.